Hey, and welcome to Eat Out at Home, the podcast. This is the place for those who love cooking and creating connections through food. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn, and on this podcast, I share with you my favorite tips and tricks for enjoying life one bite at a time. If you're ready for today's episode, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Eat Out at Home, the podcast. And today I want to talk to those of you who may be like, listen, Evelyn, the reason why I don't cook at home as consistently as I would like to is because my food isn't quite as good as the food that I get going out. There's so many delicious things in the world, and I want to try all the things. And to that, I would say, listen, I hear you. There's so much delicious food, so many different things to try, so many different cuisines, so many different interpretations on our favorite recipes, and I am here for it. But this is what I'll say to you when it comes to, if you feel like the quality of your food is not where you want it to be, because that is something that I hear kind of in addition to time, that is kind of a big roadblock for people when cooking at home consistently. They're like, I'm doing all this effort and I'm getting kind of like mid results. And I will say this very simply to you, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Practice makes improvement. Practice makes improvement. Practice doesn't necessarily make perfect, but it makes improvement. The only way to get better at cooking is to cook more, right? The only way to improve your cooking skills is to cook more. Yes, you can read a book. Yes, you can watch a YouTube video, but until you get into the kitchen and you start to play and you start to experiment and you start to try things and you start to see like, oh, I really like it when I did this, or you know what, the recipe said this and I tried it, and you know what, I actually would prefer to do it this way, and I want to see what that will do. That's the only way your cooking skills are going to improve. Like, even as someone, yes, I went to culinary school and I learned the fundamentals of, French cuisine and, some other world cuisines. But my cooking has improved over the years just because I just cook frequently. And if you are a professional chef listening to this podcast, if you're in the industry, we need to be cooking every day, right, to keep our skills sharp, right? Now, we may not necessarily need to cook every day for ourselves or for our families, but we need to be practicing our art and our craft every single day. I remember having a chef when I was like a brand ambassador for this pasta brand. And he was kind of like their, executive, chef, brand ambassador for the company. And I remember him telling me, he was like, Evelyn, you need to be cooking every day. And I was like, I need work-life balance. And, I need this. He was like, I don't care if you're just making scrambled eggs on the weekend and toast. He was like, you need to keep your skills sharp every single day. Just keep a pulse on it. Don't lose it, right? It's kind of like honing our knives. Yes, sometimes we take them in to get sharpened, but they will stay sharpened longer if we hone them. And so cooking at home more frequently will improve your cooking abilities. And you will learn about heat transfer. You will learn about the different cooking methods. You will start to understand recipes better. If you talk to anybody who's been cooking for long enough, they're probably at the point now where they can look at a recipe and go, that's not going to turn out the way that says, or that's not going to taste good, because they can look at the recipe, they can look at the proportions, they can look at the ingredients, they can look at the instruction list and know that that's not really going to be a thing. So yes, you can go to culinary school, learn the basics if you feel so inclined, but you can learn the basics on YouTube. You can learn the basics on social media. You can take local cooking classes, but you also can get in your kitchen and experiment. And I get it, right? The cost of food is on the rise, and you're like, I don't want to be experimenting and then make something that's inedible, right? Or that I'm spent a lot of money on. Fine, then don't go over the top. But maybe once a week you're cooking your other meals at home that you kind of know that, you've got your meals locked down. But then maybe once a week you're experimenting with something that is, close to what you like, close, semi, sort of familiar, but not too far off, so that you're like, okay, maybe I know this style of food, but I'm doing different flavors. Or maybe I know these flavors, but I am experimenting with them in a different way. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to go from, oh my gosh, all I've ever done was heat up a Hot Pocket in the microwave, to trying to do 3-star dishes. I mean, 3 and 4 and 5-star dishes. You do not have to do that. But I would say that practice makes perfect. And this even comes down to knife skills. And I would say this. Also, when it comes to practice makes improvement, rather not practice makes perfect, practice makes improvement. The more you cook at home, the faster you become. So a lot of times people, will say, man, I just don't have the time, or, prepping takes so long. And you can ask anybody that works in the industry. Once you kind of get your skills going and you kind of know how to move about your kitchen, you can mise en place and get your ingredients ready and prep out the food fairly quickly, because you've just done it enough. You start operating off of muscle memory. You just kind of go into autopilot mode. So I would encourage you, if you're trying to improve your cooking skills, to practice at home, or practice makes improvement. Watch videos that are about skill, not just about recipes. When you get cookbooks that are telling you why they're doing the thing, that are not just giving you recipes. And I think that's what separates, certain things from like just free recipes on the internet. And that's kind of what I miss about like old school cooking shows, is because they were almost like cooking classes. They were walking you through step by step the recipe, but they were explaining why this is happening, why they're having you do this, what this ingredient does, why they do it in that order. It was so wonderful. So if you ever want to go and watch some throwback cooking shows on YouTube, it's something I like to do just for nostalgia's sake. But also, it's like you get those tips. And I would say this, similarly to any other profession, if you really want to learn tips and techniques, seek out the professionals. There are lots of amazing people who can cook, but they can't necessarily teach, or they can't explain to you the technical reason why they're doing what they're doing, because they've just been doing it so long. And so that's what I kind of say sometimes. There's a difference between a home cook and a professional chef, because a home cook probably can cook as well as a professional chef. Will they necessarily be able to explain it? It depends on the person. So when it comes to wanting to improve your cooking skills, just remember, practice makes improvement. If you're currently cooking at home 2 to 3 days a week, make it 3 to 4 days. This is not about like putting in 10,000 hours and needing to become this expert chef, and this semi-pro chef in order to improve your cooking skills. But it is about consistently practicing your skills in the kitchen and becoming more proficient, and being able to move around the kitchen more, and being able to build up your confidence as a cook in the kitchen, because the more you practice, the more you know, the more confident you become. So that's it for today's episode. I just wanted to encourage you to get in the kitchen and play. Food is fun. It doesn't have to be super serious and super strenuous and super strict. It is fun. It is enjoyment. It is delicious. And if you do it consistently enough, your skills will improve. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this I keep wanting to say restaurant or this recipe. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please head on over to Apple and leave us a review, or you can tag me on Instagram. Let me know what you would like for me to talk about it in an upcoming episode. I'd like to get your input. And are you committed? Let me know in the comments below. Are you committed to practicing cooking at home more? And if you're a great cook, start baking. If you're a great baker, start cooking. Like, diversify your skill set. Diversify your skill set in the kitchen. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. If you're ready to start cooking at home consistently, make sure you join the Eat Out at Home Challenge. Visit chefevelyn.com/challenge for all of the details. If you're curious about what I'm cooking in between episodes, make sure to give me a follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for some delicious behind the scenes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to leave us a review. Remember, eating out at home allows you to cook better, eat healthier, save money, and create community. And most importantly, cooking at home is the ultimate form of self-care. I'll see you in the next episode.